my esteemed viewers, this is Satellite Media. Let us look at number 6 of Mr. President's address, where he talked about some people who may have taken or do advantage of this situation to threaten any section of this country. According to him, he warned that the law will catch up with them. So, according to him, he's saying that there is no place for ethnic bigotry or such threat in Nigeria. Now, the issue is this. We understand that the section of the country that Abidishu decided not to be part of this protest is the Igbos, who are Biafrans. And the reason they decided not to be part of it is not far-fetched. And I think they are justified by saying, yes, we don't want to be part of this protest, because we understand the way and manner they were treated in some part of Nigeria, particularly Lagos State, during the election. We saw a situation where they unleashed different strategy against the Igbos. I'm talking about the Oro, using Oro to threaten the Igbos during the election, and using Togre and Togre and miscreants. It didn't just end at the level of threat. We saw brutality against the Igbos in Lagos State, to the point that we saw many hospitalized. And when the issue of protest came, the Igbos sat down and looked at it from different dimensions and different angles and said, yes, we have our business interest to protect. And to that extent, we are not going to be part of this. And that is not the only angle we saw it. We saw different bodies speaking for the Igbos coming up to say, abstain from the protest. Even if Igbos generally do not see their political leaders as their good representative, we saw someone like Hope Uzodinma coming out to say the Igbos are not joining this protest, though the reason he adduced, most Igbos have said that is not the reason we are not joining, but at least Hope Uzodinma came out to say the Igbos are not joining the protest. We saw the socio-political organization, I'm talking about Honest Igbo, coming out clearly to say the Igbos do not be part of this. And the reason is not far-fetched. Because if we look at commerce in this country, the Igbos control, though I have not done any analysis based on research or issue questionnaire to people, but I can extrapolate with my own knowledge of statistics, because I'm a statistician by training, that the Igbos control up to 90% of commerce when it comes to the Nigerian economy. So to that extent, if there were to be crisis or violence that such section or sector of the economy is targeted, I think it's going to take a big toll on their businesses. I think that best explain the reason they say they are not joining. I think that is a wise one. So for someone to turn around and coming out to start threatening the Igbos that they should be hashtag leave southwestern part of the country, or hashtag Igbo must go, giving a date for that, I think that was too reckless of the individual. And the governor of Lagos State was very swift when he came out to debunk that. When he came out to debunk that notion, or rather that move, stressing, asserting authoritatively that it is not from the government, one, and two, that the person is not representing the Yoruba interest and is not representing any good interest as such. He charged the security agencies to do the needful. And to do the needful is to go after the person involved, get him arrested, get him prosecuted, and let court make pronouncement. In the same vein, I use the opportunity to charge the security agencies to ensure that they do the needful. And we are equally seeing the president coming out clearly to say, yes, this cannot be condoned in this country under my watch. I think that is a good one. And I want the police to take it up from there to ensure that they do the needful. And to do the needful is to ensure that the person who was involved in that reckless move is promptly arrested and prosecuted. Now, looking at Nigeria as a country and the way it is, we understand that before the 2023 general election, every Nigerian, particularly the right-thinking Nigerian, feel or rather felt that the Igbos are the most justified to occupy the Aso Rock. That notwithstanding, there's no rule, there's no law regarding zoning. But look at it from the base of justification. I think the Igbos are the most justified to occupy Aso Rock at this time. When we look at this national democracy since 1999 to date, We already had we had an Obasanjo who is from the southwestern part of the country who have ruled for 8 years. Have a Yaradua who unfortunately could not complete his 8 years. I think he ruled for 2 years or so. A Jonathan from Sasa came in and ruled for 6 years. And before you knew it, a Buhari from the north came on board and ruled for another 8 years. So it was understandable that if you are looking for justice, equity, and fairness on the basis of giving everybody a sense of belonging, that an Igbo man should occupy Aso Rock come 2023. But that we didn't see happen because there is no provision, constitutional provision that say it must be zoned to a particular geographical zone. That saw different people throwing their heart into the ring, including Mr. President Senator Bola Tinubu, who was the then candidate of APC, clinching the ticket according to results declared by INEC. Though the result was questionable, most of us questioned the result, and we saw some candidates of the party, different political parties, and talking about Atiku of PDP, Obi of Labour Party, contending with the results up to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court, in its wisdom, gave a judgment, and gave it to Senator Bola Tinubu, who is currently the president. But again, I think this is where Nigerians are not doing enough. Because for me, at this point, we all knew why Nigerians, stakeholders, strongly disagreed with the then result as declared by INEC. Because the reason is not far-fetched. Nigerians were the view that the way and manner the election was collated gave it to fraudulent activities, that it was manipulated. And that what we needed to do as a people, as a country, is to have laws that minimize human interference. And the only way to do that is to allow electronic transmission of election results. Do not forget that before that 2023 presidential election, in the build-up to that election, Nigerians, stakeholders, mounted pressure on National Assembly, who at the time was reluctant in amending extant laws, amending some relevant sections of the Electoral Act. But at the point when the pressure was intense, they amended some relevant section of the Electoral Act, particularly the area that deals with transmission of election results. And to the point that they gave INEC the liberty, the leverage to determine the mode of transmission election results. Then the buck was then passed to INEC, who of course is the end user of that Electoral Act, to know how they will manage it. Good enough, before the election, when they came up with their guideline, they were emphatic that they were going to transmit election results electronically. And that was because the Constitution, this time the Electoral Act, gave them that liberty, that discretionary power to determine the mode of transmission of election results. We all went into the election only for collation process to start, and INEC gave us excuse of network glitch. We understand that in the process of collation, if you were to use beavers to transmit election results, normally from EC8A that emanates from the unit level is the one the INEC is officials, perhaps adult staffs, in most cases NYC officials, is what they needed to snap and send to designated INEC server, where stakeholders, political parties, election observers will have access and monitor results as a trickling in. But unfortunately, INEC interrupted the process by saying they had network glitch, and they resulted to manual collation of results. We understand what damage manual collation of election results have always done to our electoral system. That has been the bane of manipulation of our electoral system right from the session of this nascent democracy. But unfortunately, INEC latched on that lacuna of that discretionary power given to them by the Electoral Act. So it is on that point, on that note, I'm asking that why are Nigerians sleeping? Why are Nigerians not demanding that the current National Assembly should start the process of amending our Electoral Act? Particularly that section that gives INEC discretionary power to remove that power of discretion from INEC, and let us have specifics to say you must transmit your election results electronically. Perhaps that from EC8A that emanates from the unit level should be the one INEC officials, if they're ad hoc staff or regular staff, the one that are snapping with the beavers and send it to designated INEC server real time, where election observers, monitors, political parties, stakeholders generally can have access and monitor results as a coming in. For me, if we go into the next round of election with the same electoral act, I must tell you that we are not likely going to see any necessary improvements. Because however I look at it, INEC will equally go tell you that they have no network in some part of the country, or they always have an excuse to give to revert to the manual collation of results. For me, the only way to have a free, fair, and credible election in this country is to use electronic transfer system to transmit election results. Don't forget that election observers turn in their report after the whole exercise of the election. We saw European Union coming up and addressing the same issue, raising the issue of transmission of election results, raising the issue of the mode of appointment of INEC staffs, particularly the highest hierarchy. I'm talking about INEC commissioners. So Nigerians are not even doing enough as I'm concerned, as far as I'm concerned, because leaving the appointment of national INEC commissioners, resident INEC commissioners in the office of the president gives them away as people who cannot say no to anything that comes from the president. It doesn't matter who is the president. Tinubu is the president today, another person may be president tomorrow, but we are talking of a situation where you remove INEC from that exposure to political influence. Because however I look at it, there's that saying that he who pays the piper takes the tone. I think that is perhaps what we're experiencing in Nigeria. So for me, to deepen this democracy, we must, as a matter of urgency, as a matter of necessity, amend some relevant sections of our electoral act, particularly the area that gives INEC discretion to transmit election results electronically, and the section that gives INEC the leverage to determine the mode of transmission of election results. And secondly, the area that gives the office of the president the power to appoint the highest echelon of personnel at the INEC. So for me, I think we should deepen the democracy and look into those areas. I must say, Remy, thank you for your time. This is Satellite Media, and I'm Mr. Matthew. Thank you very much.